So now you're looking at Michigan's offense, which still hasn't really produced at a high level or sustained drives or put up a lot of points against Power 4 teams yet this year. Against a Washington defense that has been okay, still kind of developing this year. They're better than they were a year ago. Part of that is because they brought in Ryan Walters, who, as much crap we gave him for his year or 2 years, I guess, at Purdue, is a good defensive coordinator. We saw that firsthand at the Big House in 2022 when he came here with Illinois, and that was a dogfight. Jake Moody with a walk-off winner in that game, but he has improved this defense here this season. They're good against the run on paper, but you've seen Rutgers have some success. Ohio State, 4.4 yards per carry. It's a pretty light defensive line and a pretty banged-up defensive line, so I think Michigan should be able to move them, but you may not have Justice Haynes, and it's got to be more consistent when it comes to run blocking. So Jordan Marshall going to have some opportunities. Pass defense, not very good. Rutgers went for 386 last week. Ohio State was 22 of 28 for 208 yards and 2 touchdowns from Julian Sayin. The corners do stand out for Washington quite a bit. Takario Davis, a guy Michigan went after in the transfer portal from Arizona, comes in, is a stud. I think he had his hands on 3 footballs last week, almost picked 3 of them off. He had one that got called back from a penalty, but Ephesians Pryzak is the other one. He had an interception kind of seal that Rutgers game. And then 6 picks on the year for Washington overall. So pretty good at forcing turnovers. But this offense has to find some consistency. They've got to sustain drives, put up points. And when you're facing a quarterback on the other side, you may have to win the game. Like for the first time in a while, the offense may have to win a football game. And you're at home. I mean, you should be able to execute better than you have.
Yep, and they need to open some holes for whoever the back is, probably Jordan Marshall, if we're being honest. And if those corners are going to be uptight on those receivers, those guys are going to have to get open, and B, I think the tight ends could have a nice game if they can go back to them again. And we asked Chip Lindsey about this week. What are you going to do with the tight ends? And, it comes down to progressions. Usually the tight end is second, third, whatever in the progression. And he said we don't generally, look at it as, okay, this play is designed to go to the tight end, but maybe you're going to have to be at times if you have a good matchup there. And they had good matchups for that in the New Mexico game. They took advantage of it with Marlon Klein. So maybe that's something that you look at in this game, maybe get the backs more involved in the passing game as well. Whatever it is, Bryce Underwood has to have a good game, right? And that offensive line has to have a good game, and they should. This is a game where, similar to Nebraska, I think they have a physical advantage up front that they need to take care of and they need to take advantage of. So that's what it comes down to. And you got to get better play from your left guard. Gio Alhadi was really bad on last Saturday. I hate to call people out individually, but when you are a grad senior like that and you're the captain on this team, maybe he was still not 100% physically. He's got to be better than he was. Those guys, Bryce Underwood has got to know that he's going to have some more time to throw the ball. And at the same time, if he doesn't, you got to roll him out a little bit more. Both ways, I don't care. Get him out there and let him make some decisions, some RPOs, maybe a few more RPOs. But this is a game that I think that the Michigan offense should have a big game, better have a big game. Kind of what we expected at USC, we hoped for anyway, going out there. I had a bad feeling. I always have a bad feeling when they go to the coast, guys, as you know, that they weren't going to play their best. But no excuse in this game at home. Got to get them comfortable. Bryce Underwood's going to have a big game for Michigan's offense to really succeed on Saturday.
I'd like to see them establish the run early. Just basing it off of how Sherrone Morris talked about injuries in the past. I am feeling like Justice Haynes is not going this weekend. At least that's what I'm operating out of. The Vegas line hasn't moved a whole lot regardless. But I'd like to see them establish the run. I wasn't crazy about pass to start the game last week at USC. I think that put you in a little bit of a hole early on. Thank God for forcing a turnover on the next drive on defense. But I think that you can kind of body blow your way through this game and dink and dunk your way down the field. You'd love to see those explosives there. I think that Donovan McCulley against Takario Davis, if you're an NFL evaluator, I think that's going to be a matchup that they're going to hone in on. So that means it's a week where, for the third week in a row, it'd be great to see a nice game out of Andrew Marsh. It'd be nice to see the tight ends a little more involved. I don't think this front is all that formidable. So the offensive line, has a chance to have the best game it's had in a few weeks here. The best thing you can probably do to help out your defense is to keep DeMond Williams off the field. So sustaining drive, getting ahead of the sticks, not putting yourself in these situations where you got to pick up 8-9 yards on third down. Those are all keys. And this is the point of the season now where, I don't want to say that Bryce Underwood's come under fire, but you have people asking in press conferences about, oh, well, he's 18th in the 18th in the conference in this and 18th in completion percentage. And I don't think those numbers are totally emblematic of the type of play they've gotten out of him so far. Obviously, the line needs to be better. The drops had been a problem early in the year, last few weeks. A little more sure-handed there when you've settled on who your top 2 wide receivers are. This is the point in the year, though, where I think we start to see Bryce Underwood ascend. And does that mean he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country by the time the season's over? No, I mean, that's a little too much to ask for him. But, he's 2 weeks removed from the best passing performance he's had as a college player. And this is a defense that I think lends itself to going up and down the field on them a little bit. So big week for Chip Lindsey, big week for, the game script and putting together a nice drive early. It actually would be nice to see them get the ball first and drive right down the field, punch it in. And that's the sort of juice that can carry over and create that big atmosphere they need on Saturday. So for me, it's this is a get right spot. I don't think the offense is as bad as it played last week. I think that they are still close to that breakout. That's the one thing I still feel tangibly good about, is that there are some of those individual pieces there, but we'll see how it starts coming together here. But I think this is a good opportunity for them on Saturday.
Would you receive if you won the coin toss?
I still wouldn't.
I know. I don't think I would either, but it's getting a little dicey here with these opening drives.
Well, how about just fix the damn thing, right? Do something different and fix it. And these teams they're barely being challenged on first drives. Oklahoma had a couple 3rd and 9s, but Nebraska and even Wisconsin, that shitty team with that shitty offense. And then this last game, they went down the field like they weren't even there. So I think they faced a couple 3rd and 1s. So
I'm not advocating for them to receive the opening kickoff. I just want to see them get out to a good start. The defense gets off the field, you go down and punch it in for 7. Because other than the CMU game, it doesn't feel like that's happened this year.
And I guess I would also defer, but I think that I wouldn't be all that disappointed if they ended up with the ball first, just to see and maybe change things up a little bit and then whatever it is, because they've got to figure out how to get off to better starts. They were really good coming out of halftime. In most games, the third quarter was really their best quarter until it all fell apart at USC last week. So they got to figure out how to kind of take the game over right away and punch Washington in the mouth at 9:08 a.m. their time. So we'll see how this goes. But Bryce Underwood, the stats kind of are what they are. I like a lot of the stats. Yards per attempt, he's not that low in the Big Ten. Only 2 picks. That's tied 3rd best in the Big Ten. Like, there's still a lot to like. I know questions, have been framed a certain way or whatever, but he's still doing a lot right.
I don't want to turn it into a tangent, but I think if you're just looking at box score, it's some of the most surface level, low hanging analysis you could possibly provide. So I don't really respect that at all.
Kind of like somebody posted about PFF scores for the offensive line. Well, the pressure rates were a lot higher in 2023 when JJ was here compared to this line. And now you're trying to say that this line, which somehow made the midseason Joe Moore Award watch list or something like that, which is comical, I'm sorry to say. So this line's better than that line. That's not how this works. So it's just not. You're absolutely right, AB.
There's a little more nuance to it, is all. I mean, you could take any number and twist it to your narrative, but show some context. That's all.
Lies, damn lies, and statistics.
And they're rolling him out more, right? They're doing different things with Bryce Underwood than they did with JJ McCarthy. And hell, some of JJ's better plays were when Carson Barnhart would get beat right off the bat. He'd go around the guy and make a play on the run. So, I guess we're seeing some growth from Bryce Underwood. I think this is a big back half of the year for him. And if they can get a win, then there are some games where he can continue to grow and grow and grow. And then if he plays well against Ohio State, you're going to have a shot to win that game. But it all starts this weekend.